Hello everybody. The saint we consider today is St John Damascene. St John Damascene was born into a Christian family in Damascus. He received a classical and a theological education and followed his father in a government position. After a few years, he resigned and went to Jerusalem, where he entered the monastery of St Seamus outside of Jerusalem. He spent most of his life there, and during the whole of his life he was under Muslim rule and indeed was protected by it. He is known for his writings against those who opposed the veneration of images. And it's interesting to note that it was the Eastern Christian Emperor, Leo, who forbade the practice. And it was because John lived in Muslim territory that his enemies could not silence him. John defended the Church's understanding of the veneration of images and explained the faith of the Church in several other controversies. For over 30 years, he combined life of prayer with these defences and his other writings. His holiness expressed itself in putting his literary and preaching talents at the service of the Lord. He had great devotion to our Blessed Lady, and his sermons on her feasts are well known. A question other Christians often ask Catholics is, why do you keep statues and pictures in your churches and homes? Is it not against the explicit prohibition of the Bible? And then they'd proceed to quote Exodus 20:3-6. With this, they'd accuse the Catholic Church of idolatry. Very often, we use different symbolic objects to help us to pray. A cross or a crucifix remind us of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross and his resurrection. Some will light a candle to create the right atmosphere to feel the presence of God. Or maybe they'd reflect on Christ as the light of the world, and that we too are called to be a light shining. We may use a rosary beads as we reflect or meditate on the life of Jesus and call on Mary to intercede for us. And the rosary can help us to remain focused on prayer, as there is always the danger that our minds will wander off. Churches often have statues of Our Lady and the saints. Catholics do not worship Mary or the saints, but ask them to pray to God on our behalf. In other words, they're asked to intercede for us. Statues can also help us to focus the mind on an aspect of prayer, or maybe even to reflect on the lives of the saints. Another example would be a statue of Jesus on the cross. It can help us to remind us to remember the sacrifice of Jesus and his great love for us, pouring out his love in abundance on us and bringing about a change and a transformation in our lives. Thank you for listening.